Lesson 49. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is this part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. The part that is listening to the voice for God is calm, always at rest and wholly certain. It is really the only part there is. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Try to hear God's voice call to you lovingly, reminding you that your Creator has not forgotten His Son. We will need at least 4 5-minute practice periods today, and more if possible. We will try actually to hear God's voice, reminding you of Him and of yourself. We will approach this happiest and holiest of thoughts with confidence, knowing that in doing so we are joining our will with the will of God. He wants you to hear His voice. He gave it to you to be heard. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind. Go past all the raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. Do not forget to repeat today's idea very frequently. Do so with your eyes open when necessary, but closed when possible. And be sure to sit quietly and repeat the idea for today whenever you can, closing your eyes on the world and realizing that you are inviting God's voice to speak to you. Lesson 49. God's voice speaks to me all through the day, a fireside exploration. Gather around, mighty companions. Let's sit with this one. Let it sink in. No lectures, no pressure, just curiosity, metaphors, humor, and depth. We go deep. Deep seek, we go deep. God's voice speaks to me all through the day, not just in prayer, not just in meditation, not just when I remember to ask, all through the day. That means while I'm doing laundry, that means while I'm driving in traffic, that means while I'm scrolling through my phone, half distracted, looking for something I don't even know I'm looking for. So, what is God's voice saying to me all through the day? You are innocent. You are free. You are without sin. You are lovable, loving. Simple, director, reassuring, like a whisper cutting through the noise. But why don't I always hear it? The two parts of the mind. One listens, one wanders. The Course says, the part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. So a part of my mind is always listening to God. That's a done deal. It's already happening. The problem is, I also have this other part of my mind, the part that gets distracted, gets anxious, tries to follow the world's rules, wants to control, plan, fix, defend. That part is loud. That part is restless. That part doesn't sit still long enough to hear anything. It's like trying to hear a soft melody while standing next to a screaming jet engine. How is this part of the mind? Distracted, disorganized, and uncertain. Easy. Just look at an average day. Distracted. I check my phone while watching TV, while eating dinner, while thinking about tomorrow. Disorganized? I start one task, jump to another, forget why I walked into a room, and end up doom scrolling. Uncertain. I question myself constantly. Am I doing this right? Am I on the right path? Did I say the wrong thing? This part of my mind is like a browser with 37 tabs open, none of them fully loaded, all of them slowing down the system. Meanwhile, the part of me that listens to God? Calm, certain, always at rest. Which one am I listening to? The wild illusion. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. A wild illusion. Like a fever dream. A bad Wi-Fi signal. A glitch in the system. It's a part of me that gets upset about things that aren't even real, like arguing with someone in my head about a conversation that never actually happened. Like stressing over a future that hasn't arrived, like defining myself by past mistakes that only exist as memories, frantic and distraught about nothing. It's like having a panic attack over a movie plot, except I'm the one writing the script in my mind. Hearing God's voice, without interrupting anything. This lesson says we don't have to stop what we're doing to hear God's voice. It's not about retreating to a cave. It's not about sitting cross-legged for hours. It's about tuning in while life is happening. While brushing my teeth, I can notice the stillness underneath my thoughts. While answering emails, I can let a quiet peace settle in. While waiting in line, I can whisper, God's voice speaks to me all through the day. The voice is there. It's not yelling, it's not demanding, it's just always speaking. I don't have to force myself to hear it. I just have to stop drowning it out. Sinking past the noise. The Course tells us, go past all raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Okay, let's break that down. Raucous shrieks? The mental chatter, the inner critic, the what-if spiral, sick imaginings, anxiety, fear-based thinking, self-doubt, real thoughts, love, innocence, the truth of who I am. It's like sinking below choppy waves to find the calm, still ocean beneath. The surface may be chaotic, but deep down the water is always peaceful. We do not live here. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. What does that mean? I wake up here, I go to sleep here, my bills come here. But this world isn't my home. My home is where I am truly welcome, where I don't have to prove myself, where I don't have to defend or pretend or perform. Have you ever felt out of place in the world? Like no matter how much you achieve, you're still searching for something. That's because this world was never meant to be home. It's just a stop along the way. We're reaching for something deeper, something that has always been there, just waiting for us to listen. Final practice. Let's hear it. Today's practice isn't complicated. Pause, breathe, repeat the idea. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Listen. Not for words necessarily. Maybe just a shift in feeling, a quiet knowing, a peace that rises out of nowhere. God wants to be heard, and we are learning how to listen. Let's go deep.